All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Bobcats Coaches Show here from Crossroads Social House in Wytheville with player guest and assistant coach. He's pulling double duty tonight. So let's get this straight. Saturday night, you made your 100th professional start. Applause. You turned 36 years old. Applause. You made 39 saves. And participated in the first goalie fight in franchise history. I saved the most or least important part, depending on who you ask, for last. But we have to get the cat out of the bag, pun intended, on what brought that about.
Well, I think it was Sharma wasn't happy with one of the kids came in, had the puck in my stomach there, and kind of got two-handed a little bit, and I wasn't too happy about that, so I had something to say to him, and kind of went after a couple of the guys out front. And
exchange pleasantries, dinner plans.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And then, Sharma, being the good guy that he is for his team, he's a team guy, and, it's kind of a rule. If the other goalie's messing with your guys, you go out there and you mix it up. So I respect that, and definitely going to do that on home ice any chance I can get. So.
Yep, absolutely. And I will say this, and we were talking before the show about this, that very few times have I physically felt the building shake. Klinecki's goal in the playoffs.
Sure.
Pretty much the entire St. Jude game, the building was shaking.
Yeah.
That entire, and you can see it on the camera.
The rumble.
The building is literally shaking.
Yeah,
like it may have caused an earthquake. We'll have to check with Virginia Tech's seismologists to see, but I'm pretty sure it might have registered a 3.5, pun intended, because that's his jersey number. And I would know because someone's wearing your jersey from that very game right over here.
That's right, yeah.
And he's really happy about it, too.
He is, yeah. He came in with it tucked in.
He did. He came in with it tucked in. There's no chest protector underneath there, so it's an adjustment for sure. But let's go over the weekend. Of course, you're doing the coaching thing Friday. You're doing the goalie thing Saturday,
yep.
Which is kind of the norm for you.
Lately, yeah, this season.
Lately, yeah, wear a lot of hats. So
yeah, it's definitely a transition. I mean, man, could you be any happier for the team, for the boys, working hard, trying to maintain a playoff spot and understanding what's at risk here and just putting their head down and working hard.
Yeah,
Look at that Friday game. They came out. That first period was wild.
Yeah, I know it's a season high. I still don't know if it's a franchise high or not. 6 goals in that first period, but you guys got off to say it was a quick start would be an understatement. I mean, but before Anton Borodkin knew what hit him, it was 3 on 12 shots.
Right. No, I mean, you got to feel bad a little bit too, because I mean, if you have any background on the organization and stuff like that, the poor guys haven't been on the ice, and their organization hasn't been on the ice, and I think it was upwards of 2 weeks.
Right.
So that's tough. You feel for them, but we came up. We didn't care. We had a job to do, and the guys were focused, and you guys saw the result of that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit here and say, you have to feel sorry for him to some degree, but during those 60 minutes, you don't feel sorry for him.
No,
you have a job to do.
But yeah, it was. I'm still a player too, so I mean, I can understand the struggle, and I spent some time with that organization. My brother has, and that's kind of a fallback on that organization. So
your brother was there this weekend too, wasn't he?
He was there for the game, yeah, birthday game, yeah. He made it out, so.
Well, good to see him finally getting out of his shell.
Yeah, exactly. So.
As we said, an epic start to that game on Friday, and it was all different kinds of ways and all different kinds of guys that were stepping up. You look at the shorthanded goal, Stephen Alvo finding McHugh there. Very similar play that happened 5-on-5 where St. Pierre finished it off. It just goes to show what we've talked about on the program the last few weeks is the depth of this team really starting to show at the most important time of the year.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you want on an organizational standpoint. You kind of want the team to, if they're going to have growing pains. They usually do. Some teams even have a lull throughout the year, and I feel like we had that early on in the year, and it's starting to. You kind of want your team to start to peak right as you're about to head off into playoffs. And then, regarding the depth that you were speaking on, Jimmy and Coach and Friday night we're in the coach's room trying to figure out, all right, who's got the first goal, who's got this goal, and we're trying to name guys, and you really can't put a thumb on it because the depth in that locker room is absolutely, it's exactly what you want for an organizational standpoint. So
yeah, and as coaches, you hear all the time, it's a good problem to have.
Great problem.
And it is a great problem to have. There just isn't enough time for everybody, and the flip side of this is you look at guys that are towards the top of the point leaderboard that have been banged up, guys like Jesso and Reller. You get a chance to slide guys into the lineup to get them more ice time. They've got their games played, so you've got a chance to get these other guys some rest and recovery, but you still have enough guys on the roster that you trust to slide up and make things happen.
Yeah, Coach always talks about who's going to be the guy, and that mindset of staying competitive as a player, and picking up the slack, or I got it, guys, don't worry about it. And that's the mentality for each and every player and every single shift, and it's starting to show right now, and you can't be happier for the team.
And it seems like that's something that as the year has gone on has grown a lot, is every guy taking kind of that personal accountability of, I'm going to do whatever it takes tonight, or, if there's a mistake, owning up to it.
Yeah, accountability as players is something that Coach, is preaching all season long, myself as well, and even, trying to lead by example. Some of those older guys in the locker room are, don't worry, I'll take this one on the chin here, whether it's a fight, whether it's a big hit, whether it's whatever it might be the team needs. It's, trying to make that infectious throughout the locker room, and it's slowly becoming that.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot on the show this year about team toughness, and that was clearly evident, of course, Saturday in the third period. But even before your scrap, there were a couple, and listen, you and I know very well what our captain, Danny Martin, is capable of, but that might be one of the most deadly left hands I've ever seen. Boy, Trey Fisher, credit to you, but you ate that one.
Yeah, Danny he's not one to be like, let me go start a fight here, and that's fine. That's okay. He leads in other ways, but when he has to, he'll step up, and he's definitely a major contender out there for us. So
yeah, there's taking care of business, and then there's what Danny did. You can ask any of our media team. When we went to commercial, I was running back and forth in the booth, just screaming, "What a left!" Because it was that emphatic of a, all right, that's it. You
could hear the thud echo through the arena.
You could, yeah. And then you made the building shake, of course. But
it was the earthquake.
It was the earthquake again. Virginia Tech seismologist, wherever you are, go Hokies. As we said, offensively, a great weekend overall. But this is a team that Zemi and I have talked about in Biloxi that, down there it was a little off. There was a little bit of a feeling out process against them. But, one thing that was learned was it doesn't matter what the score is. If they're in it, if they're not in it, they're still going to compete no matter what. And it was evident this time at home that the foot was on the gas for the entire game.
Yeah, for sure. And like I told the guys when we were out there, I playing in Baton Rouge, we played that team so many times I could forget how many. But it's not an easy place to play a hockey game. Everything's really warm. Your stuff doesn't really dry out. They really, it's a different game. It's a different feel. You're a lot sweatier than normal you are on the ice. So it's difficult, but we have to again focus on what we the job at hand, and still push through and get those wins when we can. So,
and as we said, points are at a premium this time of year, and
yes,
the opponents last week and this weekend, yeah, they're at the bottom of the Continental, but again, another organization in Baton Rouge that you spent time with, and it doesn't really matter who's at the helm on the bench there. Right. The leadership group there, well, and you know that those guys are going to compete as hard as they can for a full 60 minutes.
Yeah. In this league, any team can beat any team in any given day, especially if you're on their home ice. It's such an advantage, especially with the way you travel in this league. So it's definitely you got to be on your toes. You got to be ready, and you got to know what you're there for. It's a business trip. It's not a out in Biloxi, it can be sidetracked by the pool or the
casino,
the ocean, the
plural.
I wasn't gonna say casino, but sure, the casino, sure, the craps table will get you. But everywhere we go right now, it's the mentality in that locker room is playoff mentality. Let's win the series of games we have this weekend, and let's start to get used to doing this because we're going to roll this right into the playoff season.
Right, and it's one of those things where these are the games that you have to win. You're the better team.
Right.
But it's a matter of not letting the psychological aspect of that kind of cloud things. It's about playing as if you're playing a top contending team.
Right. Yeah, and that's Coach stresses that so much lately. Our team identity, and that is our team identity, meaning we go out and we play one game, one style of play, the same intensity every shift, every game, whether it's Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, whether we lost the night before or whatever it might be. We stay constant as a team. We keep our heads straight, and we know that there's 3 points on the line, and we need them.
And that, I feel like, we circle back to the 3 games against PD and then the trip to Danbury. The Friday game against Danbury, it was frustrating. I mean, tons of chances. Kyle Penton played out of his mind.
Yep.
Some nights, as well as I do, because you've been said hot goalie, you're going to get hot goalied. And that's ultimately what happened. But at the same time, the message from Zemi before that Saturday game was exactly that.
Yep.
We have a job to do. We have a style of play. Yep. We know what the plan is. It's up to you to go out and execute it. And ever since that meeting before the game in Danbury, I think that really kind of turned the tide and changed the mentality of, nothing's going our way.
Right.
To we can change that.
Right. Yeah. The boys in the locker room are sometimes need to be reminded that they have the skill to make that change. They have the ability to get through whether you had a slump of a game or you ran into a hot goalie or whatever it might be. You have the skill. It's gotten you here. It's provided points for us all season long, and it's just a matter of working hard. And sometimes you're going to go 5, 6, 7, 8 shifts, 2 periods without seeing a goal, and that's the intangibles of a player that we really need to kind of show, of staying consistent and still pursuing that goal or that new play or staying positive and just keep working hard.
We'll wrap Friday up here from your goalie coach perspective, I guess, since you are actually a goalie coach for Appalachian State. Go Mountaineers! What did you see out of Max Macchione on Friday night?
Man, I talk about how great of a pickup Schrum was for the organization last year. He's similar situation, coming straight out of college, walking right into it, and it was very similar. Of like really no need to really adjust besides like, hey, let me get used to seeing this game, the speed, and understanding how I can control the game. And now Schrum, obviously is killing it for us this year. I believe Max is going to be the same thing. What a talented hockey player. He comes from an area where I'm from. He played out in Fitchburg State. That's a very similar Division III hockey college that I played against when I went to school. And I even know some of the guys that he's trained with, and I'm sure the coaching out there that I don't know who he's had, but you can tell he's got the right mindset. He's going to be able to do fine for us. And it's been a pleasure to have him. Never mind, he's a great gentleman in the locker room too. So it's all around a good pickup for us.
Yeah, that was apparent right away. I mean, like you said, he just like Schrum, he showed up with the biggest smile on his face, just ready to get after
Ready
it.
to
The one thing that I really liked was, he had that shutout going for the first almost 40 minutes, and then he gets 2 back-to-back that are not on him at all.
No.
Mentally, the way he was able to bounce back the rest of that second and that third period, I think was a true testament to his character and showed his maturity, looking like beyond being in his last semester of college.
Yeah. I think, man, it's not easy to get goals scored on you like that at no fault of your own, especially when you're working as hard as he was. But that's the game. And we tell goalies when we're coaching them and when they're out there, and you play the game that comes to you, and you can't change that. So you carry on with it, and whatever happened. And when I always coach goalies, especially the younger kids, it's good to have short-term memory loss. And if it just happened and it went behind you, and well, guess what? You probably got 4 more coming, but focus on just the next one that's coming. And that's exactly what he did, and he did just fine.
Yeah, and as we said, giving 1 up is tough like that, but I mean 2 in succession, of course. Dennis has probably skated in front of the net 1,000 times, and that's the one time that the puck hop on edge and goes in between his pads. 40 seconds later, they're on the power play.
Right.
Phillips trying to kick it out of the slot. It goes the opposite direction, but
that's hockey.
That's hockey, and that mental response, I think, also embodies
his maturity.
That is maturity, but also the mentality of this team right now, as we talked about a moment ago, is not letting those little lulls and shifts in momentum completely sink anything that was going before that.
Right. And I know I saw a bunch of the forwards too after both of those goals, or even the defensemen go up to him, hey, don't worry about it, we got your back. And that's you pick up your teammate even if they're not down or not, but you just let them know that you're not alone in this because you're a team, and that's all we're asking for.
I have to bring this up though as we move to Saturday. One of my favorite parts about your now infamous tilt was the bench reactions.
Oh my gosh!
Both benches.
I would have never knew it.
And you would not have known it. Both benches, if you zoom in on all the photos that Amy and Danielle and Logan took, both benches are just grinning wildly. And even Zemi is clapping his hands, has the biggest smile on his face.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, someone commented on one of the many clips of it now and said, that you could tell that was a love of the game fight. And I know that you and Raul are friends. A lot of the fans here have become friends with Raul just because, as you said before we went on, he's down 6-1, but he's got a smile on his face the whole time. That kid just loves to play, just as you do.
Yeah. I mean, him and I are we're good buddies too. I respect him as a player, and he obviously respects me as a player. And just how do you try to it's difficult trying to break somebody's nose out there. If he's smiling the whole time, just laughing. He's out there your whole time.
It kind of throws you off a little bit.
You can hear him giggling, and I'm starting to laugh at too. And it's like, crying out loud, man. We're trying to keep this serious.
Yeah, well, like I told you before the game, I think before the show, I think the days of Patrick Waugh flying 190 feet down the ice and forearm shivering 8 of Chris Osgood's teeth out are beyond us. And as you said, it's a goalie's duty to, when he sees things going on in the other crease, go take care of business. But at the same time, the last thing you want to do is injure each other.
Yeah.
So you kind of know that going in.
Yeah, especially with him being a friend. Like I said, I respect him as a player. I respect him stepping up like that. That's huge, especially for a kid that's only been in the league as long as he is. And never mind, I don't think he weighs more than 125 pounds.
Soaking
wet. I probably have close to 95 pounds on him. You know what I mean? I got to give the kid credit. And then again, his enthusiasm as a goalie, and we can't overlook the fact that we did have 40-plus shots each night on him, and he's making blockbuster save after save after save.
Yeah, let's give him a little bit of credit where it's due.
The kid just works so hard. I just appreciate him.
The second period of the Saturday game alone, there were a couple of saves he made with the pad that were.
I mean, I don't know if any of you fans in the stands see me, but a couple of saves, I'm slapping my stick for. acknowledgement on saves that he's making out there. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not really. I'm 36. I'm not looking to get hurt. I know that's a little bit easier than said than done. I know I'm sore still, but after each game. But yeah, I'm not looking to get hurt. I know I'm not looking to hurt anybody out there. But I respect him. I respect what he was doing, and that's what you got.
Yeah. So you go into Saturday knowing you're going to get the start. And then the game plan, of course, was to keep things rolling from Friday.
Right.
You give up the first one early on there, kind of an awkward one, but Blacksmith, as we know, is one of their top point producers, and sometimes there's guys you can't stop, you can only hope to contain, and after that it was another one of those situations where, and it's happened a few times this year, where visiting team will get one really, really early on when we're at home, go up 1-0, but the response is not just a few minutes after, it's the entirety of the game after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens. Sometimes they get one early. Obviously, as goalies, that's the last thing you want. You don't want to give up the first goal in the game. You kind of want to hold that momentum as a goaltender for your team. But it does happen. But I mean, the only thing that you can do is, I mean, like I said, it's short-term memory. And the guys, the team will feed off of that. Like, oh, all right, they got one, but Huss or Schrum or even Max, well, look how he's responding. It didn't shake him, didn't change anything, and that allows them to settle in and get back to work. And you're obviously, as a goaltender, making sure that you get those next couple shots coming your way, just to give some insurance for the boys. But yeah, it happens, and but it's how you respond.
Right, and offensively, same kind of deal as it was Friday. It was not just the usual suspects. I mean, Demid, I should say, has looked great ever since joining the club, and Saturday might have been his strongest game. I mean, he was all over the place.
I mean, we've been saying it. He's deserved a goal like 3 games ago. He was been due. And then just simple stuff. We tell the guys, just keep it simple. It's not an extravagant pass, backdoor, or a dangle around a defenseman, and then a bar down goal or something like that. It's simple. Like he had his D-man on him. He didn't let it bother him. He crashed the net, kept his stick on the ice, and he got there. Just a nice tap in right around the goalie's pad, and that's all we can ask for.
And that was his first of 2 on the night.
That was, yes.
Yeah, and the second one, but much a similar situation. It just happened to be on the power play.
Yep.
It was a little hack and whack situation, and as Emmy said, that's something that has been lacking at times, is that net front presence. But a guy of his size and his makeup since day one has not been afraid to go in front of the blue paint.
No, and a lot of these guys need to realize too that they're not made of glass. You're going to take a bump. You're going to take a whack. You're going to take a bruise. You might get chopped up and cross-checked. But that's the game of hockey. We have to get to those hard areas, and they're called hard areas because it's not easy to get there, and you're going to take an absolute beating getting there in the process. But the reward is so worth it. Yeah,
and you see guys like Stuckless, Carson, setting the tone for that throughout the early part of the year, and a guy like Demid comes in and starts doing it right away. That's the kind of thing and the mentality that starts to radiate throughout the rest of the club.
Yep, just make it infectious and lead by example.
And as we said, depth is key. Damon slides up a couple of spots. I mean,
gosh,
talk about how far he's come just in the last couple of weeks.
It's just incredible. Some guys it takes, maybe they're a little bit more silent on the point aspect of it at the beginning of the year and stuff like that, and they're still getting their feet under them or whatever it might be. And, he's been in and out with injuries and stuff like that. But to see him be the player that we know he is, that he is amazing. And then, I mean, we just get to reap the benefits of that because he is an amazing, fun thing to watch out there.
And he's been humming ever since the first meeting with Biloxi.
Yes, he has.
Which, again, was kind of an odd situation.
Mm-hmm.
I was stuck at the ER with him until about 15 minutes before we were supposed to leave. And Damon puts on a cage, and he turns into an absolute menace and puts home 2 goals in that game in Biloxi. And ever since then, it seems like it's lit this fire in him. And, we've seen the flashes of it before. We saw it last year, and we've seen it at times this year. But the way that he is flying around, and he and McHugh both, I think, are the 2 guys that are really setting the standard right now in terms of that effort towards the bottom of the 9-10 forwards of forechecking.
Yeah, I think I showed up late for that practice. I ran into some traffic coming up from Carolina, and I was getting dressed, and then he comes walking in. I go into the locker room. I go, "You all done?" He's like, "No." He's bleeding. And I was like, "Oh, all right." Well, and then once we got out there in Biloxi with him, and he had the cage on, all the guys were screaming after he was scoring all the goals. Like, we're leaving the cage on the rest of the year.
That's what I told him after the game that night.
Leaving it on.
I was like, we should hit you in the face in practice more often.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
it was a funny story because I had just gotten in at like, I don't know, it was like 9:15, and you guys have been on the ice for maybe 10 minutes. I have all my stuff for the bus. I got my pillow, my blanket, my suit bag, my suitcase, my backpack in both my arms, and Jimmy busts open the side door and goes, "You got to drive Damon to the ER." I was like,
great.
Okay. But I mean, like I said, ever since then, it's lit this fire under him, and there's certain guys that can take that, and as you said, that's the kind of thing that can radiate through the entire bench.
Yeah, just team toughness, working hard, being just being strong, just being a hockey player.
I'll tell you one guy that, we said Dimid was due for one, Mr. Alvo. I mean, for a guy that had not skated in almost a year, to essentially just hop off his couch and right into a top four defenseman slot, having just been cleared from surgery a week before he started playing, knowing that was the 15-game point he's got to be in. He has not looked anything like rusty, fatigued. I mean, he's come darn close 5 or 6 times probably to putting one home.
Yeah, I mean, as a defenseman, I mean, you really don't expect them to score, right? I mean, they're D-men. But, I mean, just what he has brought to the ice on the defensive aspect of it, whether it's, there's rust on a pass, right? And it flips over his stick the wrong way. But it doesn't matter because he's got it covered.
Right.
Whether it's a lay down stick, blocking the pass, or, he steps up and, uses that big body and lays somebody out and stuff like that right when the guys need it. Like his hockey IQ is just, even if his legs may not be there for the first game or two, his IQ is through the roof, and he doesn't even need it because he's smarter than the game sometimes. And
it was one of those desperation plays that led to that goal on Friday, that shorthanded goal. It was a 3-on-2 break coming back the other way, and he lays out and breaks the play up.
Yep.
Next thing you know, he's got it, and he's quick upped it. It's a 3-on-2 back the other way shorthanded.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have him out there. We needed an extra defenseman, especially one. I mean, we were looking for one, and then to get one this late in the season, but to get one with, again, like I said, his hockey IQ and his his hockey history, and that's a pickup right there.
Yeah, I mean, the pedigree and the resume he brings, of course, you know it as well as I do, and those in Roanoke call him Stevie Cool for a reason. I mean, they do. I mean, and it fits because he's just so calm and collected back there, and that's something that Zemi's talked about a lot is having those steady Eddie guys on the back end. And it's one of those things, too, that, again, has radiated through the rest of the club. Yeah. You're seeing Robin, Dennis, you're seeing guys start to dive and make more, desperation plays and put their bodies on the line because they see someone do it, especially seeing someone do it that knows that hasn't skated in almost a year. To go out there their first or second shift and start putting their body on the line, that sends a message to the rest of the room that, hey, I can pick it up too.
Yeah, for sure. Even you can even see glimpses of it with Saintsy out there too.
Right.
And he's such a younger player, but again, walked in and just started, playing a man's game at such a younger age. It's good for him to have that type of demonstration from an older guy who's been through it and stuff like that. So.
And there's definite depth on the back end too. The other two collegiate signings so far, Declan and Christian, both have looked really solid in their appearances so far.
Yeah. Again, Coach and I aren't not expecting, anything over the top from them. For both of them, first of their games, if I'm talking to them on the D, it's keep it simple, keep your head up, talk, communicate as much as possible, get off the ice, quick shifts. Like, we're not looking for anything crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's how you're going to make this organization, this team, is by doing the right thing, the small things right, and then getting out there and watching. Maybe you might not be there for, you might miss a couple shifts in the third period, but that's okay. You're watching, you're paying attention. How is this going? You're understanding the speed. You're starting to, you're just getting your bearings down. So, but still, great pickups for us, and we're happy to have them.
And it's something all three of them, I think Max included, have really not taken any time at all to adjust to the speed of things. I mean, you look back to that Danbury weekend, Max comes in Friday morning. Mm-hmm. He's in the stands Friday night, and you could tell pretty much right away when you were talking to him Saturday morning that, the difference from college to pro, it clicked in terms of the speed, and it didn't look like Christian or Declan either in their first games were overwhelmed or overmatched by the difference in speed.
No, not at all. I mean, like I said, I played in that league. I mean, it's a smooth transition coming from those leagues, those Division III leagues. It's good hockey. The hockey keeps getting better every year, and that's it's especially out in that area of Massachusetts too. It's always competitive. So I mean, that leads right into what we have here, and that's all you want. You want a competitive hockey game, and when it's competitive, it's you're not thinking, you're just engulfed by the game, and it's fun to play.
So let's move before we move on to this weekend. Of course, you've been on the show before, so we're not going to dig into your lengthy background. We've done that already.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, that might be a novel, but just talk us through what the journey's been like. After retirement, surgery over the summer, and then coming into this year, of course. I guess at a certain point you just got the itch.
Yeah, it never leaves you. Obviously, that's probably the hardest thing to do is actually vocally and publicly say I'm done with the sport that has been by my side since I was 4 years old, and it's not an easy thing to do. But it's a true reality for any player, whether it's happens after high school, after college, after professional, after whatever. It's a pill you have to swallow. So it's not easy to do, but I mean it's being out here. I try to find whether it's coaching with the younger kids, and the sport has given me so much in life, right? So I try to give back to it as much as possible, whether that's the younger generation or if I have like even Zemi thinks I have something to offer the team as a coach and professional, which to me is, that's such a nice thing to say, because if you asked me, I'd tell you no, I don't have anything to offer. But so it's greatly appreciated that he thinks that highly of me in the organization. So it's nice to just still be a part of it. When we lost Hunter, I know Zemi was a little worried about finding another goalie that late, and it is very difficult to do. And I just kind of grinned. I was like, well, you got me. I mean, I can definitely come in and fill in and help you win a game or two. You know what I mean? But I can definitely do it. But again, with that said, I'm also 10 months off the couch, out of surgery, and I've never had a major surgery like that before. At the end of last year, I tore my bicep. Played playoffs with a torn bicep, and I've never played injured. I've never played anything like that, but that was an incredible obstacle for my career, for sure. But I feel good. I don't feel like I've really missed anything, really. The only thing I feel like is my legs, being 10 months out of it, have been a little heavier than normal. But other than that, I mean, it's been. Obviously, it's a pleasure to be up here again, to be on the ice. What a privilege, and then to again still be relevant. And I don't know how I am 4-0 right now as a goalie, 10 months off the couch after surgery.
I tell you what, that 4-0, and if my math is correct, according to Elite Prospects and Hockey DB, you are the oldest goaltender in the FPHL to record a full 60-minute victory.
Really?
So congratulations on that.
That's incredible.
You got 4 of them this year.
All right.
So.
All right. Dang.
But from the journey for you, from the end of last year, the heartbreak in the playoffs, you look at where this team was when you came into the fold after Vera left. I'm sure you saw what we all had been seeing from day one, was that there was a definite air of expectancy and a belief that this was the team and this was the time to go make that run of the championship.
Yeah, and that's difficult on an organization, on a team as well. And I think we saw it at the beginning. We walked out at the beginning of the year, and I think we had like 4 or 5 wins right out the gate.
Yeah, 3-0.
3-0. Okay, 3-0 right out the gate.
Yeah, had the 2 big comeback wins against Columbus the first weekend, and then go into Carolina and shut them out
right
in their home opener, which is something that not a whole lot of teams have done ever, let alone this year. So, but yeah, you have that high, and then you have the lull, and December was tough, and about when that stretch happened, that tough stretch happened in December, is when you came in. But I mean, I'm sure at that point you still saw, like we all did, the belief was still there, and the talent has been there the whole time. It was just a matter of putting all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Right. It's not easy for a team to play with expectations like that, and making the organization's first playoffs last year, that there is an expectation now, and especially with the majority of the team returning, there really shouldn't be anything other than that expectation. So as players, I think it took some time. It maybe took a toll a little bit at the beginning, and like I said earlier, sometimes it's good to kind of get those growing pains for the season out of the way. And I think we did, because now we're rolling with a little bit of steam here, and that's right when you want a team to start to peak. But yeah, it's not easy for guys to play with that expectation, and I think it showed. But they've been resilient, they've worked hard, and just at the end of the day, you just got to play.
And it's something that you, of course, bring to the table, is that championship pedigree, and it's something that Zemi's talked about a lot, is having a guy like you and a guy like Steven that have been there, that have done that know what it takes, not just to get into the dance, but knows what it takes to get to the next stage every single time.
Yeah, and I think the key word with that is calmness. Just be calm. You've at this point, you've tied your skates 1,000 times this year, and you did it the year before, and everything you did the year before that has brought you to that point, and you have to roll with a little bit of confidence, sometimes a chip on your shoulder, and the older guys, myself, Steve, other guys in that locker room, that's that calmness that they'll bring, and it kind of helps settle everybody else's nerves, or we're able to pick up on it and maybe address it, and that can help. That can help go a long way. So
I'm curious, before we move fully into this weekend, I don't know if you've watched any of the previous programs, but there's a superlative portion
here
where I ask the player guest some questions about his teammates. So
all right, let's do it.
Question 1.
Hold on.
Yeah, stay hydrated. Mm-hmm. It is St. Patrick's Day, after all. Important to stay hydrated.
All right.
Let me just sip here. So I had to do my NPR voice there. Question 1.
All right.
Who is the biggest eater, i.e. consumer of food, on the team? Everyone knows the answer already.
I don't know. Who's the biggest eater? Dennis? Maybe Dennis? Oh, I heard a buzzer no. Who are we going with?
Similar size and build.
Erickson? Okay. All right, that was going to be my second guess. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's kind of the running gag every week now.
It's definitely the gaseous, so that makes sense.
As we all know the answer to that question. Yeah. There's a reason.
You will. Sometimes I'm on that defensive side of the bench, and if you see me on the other side of Zemi, you know why.
I will say that anytime that he suggests we visit a taco establishment, rhymes with Bell, there is a uproar from the bus of no,
anything but that.
Anything but that.
Erickson does
I
not
kid
do
you
that.
not. In Danbury, we all went to Chipotle, as if Chipotle is not already proteined out enough.
Right.
Robin decides to walk across the street to Taco Bell because that's a better option.
He's He's a strange man. Good man, but a strange man.
He's also our poster child for Friday's theme night.
Yeah,
our hockey talk
did you see him
night.
dressed the other night? Saturday night?
I swear he looks like
he had an Atlanta Thrashers jersey on with a cowboy
hat.
Jeans.
I'll tell you what, somewhere Ilya Kovalchuk is going, what is happening?
My wife was like, wait, why is he wearing that? I was like, just let him be. He's from Sweden. Right.
I guess he is from the western part of Sweden.
Yeah.
It's a Swedish lasso.
Great place.
Yeah. You've heard of the Swiss watch or the Swedish watches. How about the Swedish lassos?
The Swiss Texans.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Swedish Texans.
Yes.
Not Swiss.
They're very, very famous.
Yeah.
Waylando Jennings. Anyways, question 2. It is March. There is madness afoot. Basketball is everywhere. Not better than hockey, but
don't ask me basketball questions, please.
It's all over TV screens. If you had to pick 4 teammates to go with you.
Okay. They're going to have me pick teams. I was like,
yes.
God,
you're going to play pickup at the rec center up the road here.
Yeah.
Next to Wytheville Community College.
Okay.
You're on the roster.
Yep.
What 4 guys are you piling into that truck of yours?
Dennis, Erickson, Andrioli, and probably McHugh because he's got a little grit to him. So
that is true. That is true. I feel like Q would be a good
Q would be good.
Q would be a good 3, like a wing guard. Yeah. Yep. You put Robin and Dennis down low, and then you've got Carson at the 2. Your running point, of course.
Yeah.
The funniest answer we've heard on that question so far in the month of March has been Schrum. Apparently, Schrum has a reputation as a lights-out 3-point shooter.
Really?
So I've heard.
He is the international man of mystery. You know that? He really is.
Like, I'll tell you what.
He's the biggest. Also, it's like Google reviewer as well. Like he has
he'll leave novels.
I guess there's it's like you can be like 1 through 10. Like you get like a star. Like when you do so many, he's like level 6 or star 6 or something like that on Google review. It's a big deal.
I mean, everywhere we go, he will review it.
He will leave a review. And if he didn't have a good experience, he's like, you want me to take care of him? All right, we don't want to sink their business, Schrum. Take it easy.
If you've ever been to one of the many truck stop Arby's across the country, you'll notice that there's a bell usually. Ring for good service. Mm-hmm. Guess who the only person is that always rings that bell every single time? Schrum.
Schrum, yeah.
Every time.
Well, what did they put it there if you didn't want him to ring it?
It's almost like they put the bell there and says, "Here, Schrum, ring this."
I would. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I'd ring it too.
Schrum, don't change.
No, never change.
Do not change.
Funniest thing, especially because baseball's coming up, Ryan Van Dyke, our wonderful equipment man,
yes,
showed me something on the road trip to Danbury that blew my mind. He showed me a side-by-side of Schrum and Greg Maddux.
No.
And it's eerily similar.
It is. Now I think about it.
So now Schrum's nickname has become the Professor. And I would venture to guess that Schrum's sinker ball is pretty deadly.
It probably is, honestly. He's like this freakishly skilled athlete, no matter what he does. It's like, how are you this good at this? Like, what is going on? I don't get it.
But it's the thing. He looks like a Rhodes Scholar, but he's actually this Rhodes Scholar athlete.
He looks like he's written a couple books in his day.
I mean, I think he actually might actively be writing one now. I don't know if he is or not. I think he's writing like a Fed
autobiography.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's that'll be a New York Times bestseller for sure.
Sure it will.
Question 3: who is the funniest guy on the roster?
It's Dennis. It's Dennis. 100% it's Dennis. Like, there's nothing that comes out of his mouth at any given moment that you're not trying to hold in a laugh because coach is either being serious or, like, we're trying to pay attention to a game, or even if it's like, we'll find each other for funny things that we did throughout the week, and it's like, it's just always Dennis trying to defend himself on something stupid that he did, but, like, he's just hilarious. Like, there's nothing that the kid doesn't do that isn't funny. Because he has this big goofy smile on his face, too.
He does.
So.
He does.
Yeah.
I went into the locker room after the game Friday, and he was like, what was your call on my goal? I was like, your goal?
He was concerned about it. He wanted to know.
He wanted to know how I described him
Scoring.
putting it in his own net. I was like, I didn't. Yeah, sure, I was excited about that. No,
Thought it was a good one.
no. I was flabbergasted. Would be the operative word. So on the subject of fines, question 4: what is the most heinous yet hilarious, diabolical reason for fining someone in kangaroo court?
Well, I would discuss it. However, kangaroo court does not leave the locker room situation.
That is true. So, that's the right answer. You passed the test. Congratulations. Congratulations. You passed the test. Good job. That was a test and you passed. If you've watched Shoresy, you know what we're talking about. Question 5, final one. If you and one teammate were stuck in a zombie apocalypse, who are you trusting the most to get out of that alive? This is a thinker.
Man. There's 3 off the top of my head, and it's just I'm trying to think of like what skills they have outside.
Well, one of them's probably got the ammunition part down.
Yeah, he's one of them.
The other one's a bit on the shorter side, but I think he would just be so upset that the apocalypse was happening to begin with that he would just go bonkers. I met his parents over the weekend too.
I don't know. I'd probably have to go with Danny.
That would be the ammunition suspect.
Yeah, I would go with Danny. But it was like Danny, Schrum, or
Schrum.
Yeah. Schrum.
As far as like
you have to think
the scholarly IQ outsmarting the zombies.
He would think them to death. Again.
Yes, think them to death a second time. As if dying once wasn't bad enough.
But yeah, no, yeah, it would probably be Danny though.
So Merck wasn't in there anywhere.
Merckx was in there.
Okay,
yes, Merckx was in
that.
There
That was the aforementioned. Yeah. He would just be so upset it was happening that he would just go nuts on it.
That. But I mean, he looked like I feel like he just like a company like the Rambo look. You know what I mean, with the bandana and stuff like that. Like,
Oh, I can see that. The funniest answer to that question all year was Robin. I don't know if he didn't fully understand the question, but
that's pretty good possibility.
His words were, and I quote, I don't want to pick Dennis because I would sacrifice him.
All right.
Okay. So Robin essentially just literally threw Dennis to the wolves. There you go, bud.
Well, I'm glad I didn't pick Robin. Obviously, if you can.
Well, see, Dennis would be a good answer too because of the long strides.
Well, yeah, if he can run faster than you, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, Dennis runs like a gazelle. Like, if you think he skates like one.
They're nimble.
Both
of them.
They are. They're big, and they're European, and they're nimble. All 3 are good things to have during a zombie apocalypse. Athletes, every one of them. All right, before we get any further off track, let's move on to this weekend. Similar situation, opponent at the bottom of the Continental, but as we said towards the start of the program, it's a team and an opponent that competes hard for all 60 minutes. Yeah. You know a few of the guys over there that have been there since day one for Baton Rouge. It's a team that has certainly taken a trip back down to earth after last year when Everett Thompson was there, and that honestly that just goes to show what kind of coach Everett is. But what he's been able to do with Indiana and pulling them out of the cellar and back to being competitive at every single game. But this is a Baton Rouge team that does compete night in and night out. And like I've said on the broadcast with Biloxi, you can't look at the goalie's numbers or the goal differential being as astronomical as they are because those are misleading. Right. You have to look at the totality of the games, just as Biloxi has been in a large portion of their games. Baton Rouge has been in a large portion of their games. Yep. 3 weeks ago, they went into Topeka and swept them. Yep. So, as you well know, this is a team that is more than capable of getting the job done, which means the onus is on you guys, everyone in the room, to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Yeah. You also have to pay attention to the division that they're in. It is arguably more rounded, stronger division. I believe they've beaten Athens. I believe they've beaten Monroe.
They have,
I believe. I think they've beaten PD. I'm not sure, but again, they've beaten some of the top teams in our league, especially in that division, which is a little bit of a powerhouse division.
I mean, yeah, you look at they've beaten Athens once or twice. I know they've beaten Monroe once. I mean, those teams both are now over 100 points.
Yeah.
So you look at that division compared to the Empire.
So you have to
there's
pay
two
attention.
teams over 100 points, and there's only one in ours.
You got to look at it as you're going into play a team that is, never mind. I mean, some of those guys have vengeance. We had that deciding game last year.
Yep.
And we knocked them out, so they didn't have a playoff spot. They were trying to, finally make playoffs for the first time in their organization. We said, not happening. It's our year. And you got to think that they're bringing some of that baggage with them. And so they play a rough game. A couple of those guys that I know and played with, they play, a gritty game. There's going to be big hits. There's going to be a lot of fights. There's going to be, I'm sure there'll be blood. And we got to be ready for it. And like we talked about earlier, we don't change anything. We continue the way that we've been kicking, and we work hard, and we get back to our identity, and we play our game.
You talk about guys having something to prove. I mean, oddly enough, the goaltender that started that game you just mentioned for the Bobcats is now with Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one heck of a goalie too.
He is, and we know what he's capable of, and I have to ask, is that one of those situations where you go into it knowing that, the goaltender on the other side knows a lot of guys' tendencies? Do you feel like that gives the shooters, the forwards, the advantage, or does that put the advantage on the goaltender?
I don't really think it gives an advantage or anything like that, but I mean, there are situations where goalies might be able to pick up on tendencies for sure that forwards don't realize that they just kind of resort to, especially in the heat of the moment, where goalies might be able to, I've seen him in this position and in this situation on the ice in front of you before. I kind of know exactly where he's going. So it could benefit, but also sometimes you never know. It could get to his head that he's back in his his barn that he played in, and there's a lot on the line, and he wants to prove it. And you start to get the coach and his teammates starting to say, "Are you ready to get back at them for getting rid of you?" Is that and the other thing, or you don't know. You don't know. But all I know is I'm sure he'll bring it, and we could just be ready for what's ahead of us and just believe in ourselves, and we know we're going to get the win. So
yeah, and as you said, this is a team that plays a very, very physical brand of hockey. They love to mix it up. Mm-hmm. I would akin them kind of to, maybe not to the same degree of shenanigans as Port Huron, but I mean, kind of to that level of rough and tumble kind of hockey.
Yeah, similar to Topeka. I'm sure that's probably why they swept Topeka, is they
they beat them at their own game.
They beat them at their own game, so they're definitely capable. Sometimes we try to play that game. I personally tell the guys I don't think that's our brand of hockey. We can play it, but usually it's better when we have the lead, and even then that can take a toll on us. But it's, again, we just need to be ready for whatever. And the big picture is we need those points. So that's all that matters. And
that's certainly, those situations are where discipline comes into play big time. When you look at, situations such as what Robin went through in Carolina when Melanson came out there, and he did the smart thing.
Yeah.
He got the major penalty, and they scored on it.
Yeah.
Same thing in Biloxi a few weeks ago.
Right.
A.J. Schlepp goes after Reller, tries to stir something up, tries to get his bench going.
No need.
Reller says, exactly, there's no need. The Bobcats get a power play of it, out of it, and they score on it. And that's the thing that, I think some people might not really understand fully is momentum. And there's a time and a place to take care of those kinds of things.
Right.
And if it's a tight game, 2-2, 3-2, 2-1, the last thing you want to do is go down a man at a critical juncture in the game, knowing it's something you could have avoided and taken care of either later that night or the next night.
Right. I've stressed that with the team several times, especially with Coach too, and helping them try to understand that momentum in this game is so important. And we saw it in Topeka when we were up. In that game that second game that went into overtime that Saturday night, and we started to get a little mouthy, and I think we started to bite off a piece of a piece of the proverbial cookie that we didn't really want, because we had 4,000 fans in the arena that were silent in the third period, up to the third period, and we had a team on the other side that was their home team, and they were also silent with no momentum. And I think we started to jaw at them, and we gave them momentum, and that cooked them, and that got them going. And next thing you know, we ended up losing in overtime as we gave them that momentum. So it's a similar thing of knowing when to and when not to, understanding, what's best for the team and not best for me as a player and my ego, and telling a guy like, yeah, coach said no, and there's no problem with telling a guy, hey, coach said nothing right now, so that's the way we're going to run it. If you want to jump me, that's fine, but I mean, we know the outcome of that's going to be, and then, so I think playing smart this upcoming weekend is going to be a huge piece to that puzzle.
And discipline, not just in that aspect of it as well, but just in the normal flow of the game. It's stick infractions have been a little bit more common than I think you guys on the coaching staff would like at times this year, and against a team like this that, they play a very physical brand of hockey, but they've got a few quicksters on their end of things as well, and a power play that, again, might not look lethal on paper, but it can be. We saw that with Danbury a couple weeks ago. They came in, I think, at 14%. But sometimes a team goes into a weekend, regardless of the number, and things just click. You have to find a way to stay on the other end of that.
Yeah, I mean, any team, when you're up an extra player too, I mean, you get an extra guy in front of the goalie, crazy bounces happen. That's why we play the game. We don't know what's going to happen. So at the end of the day, we got to respect power plays coming up against us, regardless of what their percentage is. And then furthermore, staying disciplined is so important. And this year they changed the rules a little bit too. It's stick infraction, so it's stick on stick play. The refs this year are calling it more, and we need to respect that. And also that's easily combated by moving your feet, being an athlete, being a conditioned player, and move your feet and get body on body instead of trying to slap your stick out of their hand and stuff like that. It's just a lazy penalty, and at this late in the season, there's really no need for it, no excuse.
And that's something that, I'm glad you brought that up. It's a good point. That has been cracked down on a lot. So throughout the season, we've seen a lot more slashing calls, tripping calls, holding calls as well. Right. These obstruction-based penalties, as they're known, are really being cracked down on, and that was a point of emphasis at the start of the season. And in a lot of ways, it's also played into the benefit of a team like the Bobcats that has a lot of skilled forwards that can force the opposition into making those plays.
Right, it can go either way. And if we're smart hockey players out there, and we're realizing that, hey, I think last game we had the set of refs. They called probably 10. Going both ways, stick infraction penalties. Well, obviously, if we get our boots going and we start skating around, there's a pretty good chance that the other team's not going to be able to catch up, and that means those stick infraction penalties are coming our way, and we're hopping on our power play, and we know how deadly that we can be on that. So it can be a key to the game that we look at going into.
Right, and that's the other key that if those things start to snowball, you can't get frustrated and allow that snowball to roll further down the hill. You have to trust that things are going to even out. Yeah.
And just have faith, play the game. It's going to come as it is. You can't change the refs' calls, regardless of how irate they can be at times. But they're still going to drop the puck, and we still have a game to play. So just keep your head focused, and we'll kill it off and move on from there.
What's the message going to be like going into the games this weekend and on the bench throughout the weekend?
Hard work and discipline. That's it. Simple. We're not overthinking it. I tell Zemi it all the time. He's like, well, what do you think of this? Should we change this? Should we change that? Honestly, a lot of times my answer to him is, Coach, they've learned everything that you've needed to teach them this season. It's been a long season, and you're a great teacher. Let's sit back and let the hockey play hockey. Or let the hockey game happen. The boys need to play hockey. They know what they need to do. Keeping it simple and playing our game, playing to our identity. That's going to be the secret to it for us.
And that's something for you, but we'll wrap things up here. Something for you, as you touched on when you were on the show last season was, Zemi, to your words, he's overqualified for his job.
Completely.
And it's got to mean a lot for you to come in and for him to have that kind of trust in your knowledge of the game and your experience to bring you on in this part player, part coach role, knowing that you can bring a lot to the table. That's got to give you a lot of confidence, not only behind the bench but in between the pipes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, he's definitely overqualified for the role. The way that he runs his practices and the way that he, is prepared for each game, and even the practice, whether it's video, whether it's video on the other team or video of an NHL team, addressing the way to, execute a breakout pass or attack in the corner and come out with a puck or whatever it is. He's always trying to find a way to make everybody better, and it's always his go-to phrase is be better than we were yesterday. And I mean, for him to even think of me as a worthy adversary to be assistant next to him it's an honor, and it means a lot to me, and I take it very serious. So thanks, Coach.
It's something that his tireless work ethic. We've seen it day in and day out. I mean, you can ask Jenna. He'll watch film at 1 or 2 in the morning.
Nonstop.
I mean, he doesn't stop thinking about the game.
That's all he cares about.
And that's one of those things that I think is what truly makes him one of the great coaches in this league. Is he's smart. He knows the game, but he literally lives it. I mean, he never stops thinking about it.
Yeah, it's true. It's he's a great guy to look up to too as a coach. So.
And
I'm learning a ton too.
Yeah,
so I'm learning so much.
Yeah, one of the best friends I think you and I have had the pleasure of making in this league, and he got himself a birthday win last weekend. You got yourself a birthday win, so it was a nice weekend for the coaching staff on their birthdays, respectively.
Right.
So, in your best Zemi fashion, give us your 3 keys to victory this weekend.
Like I said, one, discipline for sure. What else does he say? I'm trying to like really.
Well, he's got the 3 C's.
Mimic him. The 3 C's.
You don't know about the 3 C's?
What's his 3 C's that he says?
Cohesion, consistency,
for sure.
competition.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, let's go with those. Yeah, we'll I can't say it any better. So I mean.
It's not like it's written on a whiteboard in the locker room or anything.
I'm usually looking at everything else.
You're looking at everything but that one corner of the whiteboard.
Right. If it's there consistently, I figure I've already seen it. Obviously, I've already forgotten it. So.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, a couple housekeeping notes. Friday, I don't know if you're going to show up in the same getup that you had last year for this theme night. I'm not, because I don't have another shift at Outback Steakhouse to get to this time. I looked like an Australian rancher last year for Hockey Talk Night because it was just what I could find. Sorry. Anyways, it is sponsored by Classic Country 98.1. Nice. I know there's a lot of kids here because it's St. Patrick's Day. They're back there beating the tar out of each other with bouncy balls, balloons. I don't know what those are exactly, but there's
balls maybe.
Spike balls. There's a lot of controlled violence going on back there. Hey kids, if you enjoy controlled violence, we have some for you Friday night. It's called hockey, and if you get there early, I just pulled the M&M. Hi kids, do you like violence? If you get there early, the first 250 of you get a Western wristband, courtesy of Kendra, who magically has disappeared at the one moment that she's needed. Anyways, Classic Country 98.1 will be there set up. They'll have some giveaways throughout the night. I think they'll have some gift cards and things to hand out throughout the night. So go by and see the fine folks from Galax. They'll be coming further up the mountain and setting up and letting us do our hockey talk thing. And Robin will probably be wearing the cowboy hat in warm-ups.
Incredible, yeah. It will be a sight to see.
And he will more than likely show up to the arena in a bolo tie.
Yeah, that's true.
Which you have one of as well.
I do. I don't know if I'm going to wear it or not. We'll see.
I don't.
It might just be a nice flannel.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tuck my jeans into the boots this time.
That's a bit much.
That was That was the Australian move.
That's a bit too Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would know.
I know. That's why I'm saying it.
All right, before we go on any longer, very quickly, Saturday night, another fun one, Island Night. So we've got Mountains, we've got Margaritaville. Boom, they're going to come together. That was my John Madden. And then boom, they're going to come right together at the Hitachi Energy Arena. Be sure to get there early once again. 500 free lays at the door, not chips. They go around your neck. So not only that, but we will have Mountain 2 Island, our game night sponsor, will be there. And outside the arena before the game, I'm sure it'll be fairly warm. If you're out there tailgating, take a glance over. You can check out some of the boats that they have to sell. They'll be on display. If you want to take one of them out to Claytor Lake on July 4th this summer, that'll be a lot of fun.
Sure.
So be sure to get here early for that. Come being festive Friday, because that's the other part of the deal. If you wear Western attire, if you have a polo tie or a giant 10-gallon Doug Dimmadome-sized hat, you do get $2 off your ticket. And no, you do not get an extra discount for correctly impersonating Doug Dimmadome. I pitched for that.
I bet you did.
But our management and Nickelodeon's parent company threatened to send us a cease and desist. So we opted against that. But
I saw that email.
Yeah. It was from don't do this at viacom.net.
Right. .com.
/org.
Right.
Okay. My Ritalin's wearing off. We got to get out of here before we do something stupid. One more housekeeping note. I can't be on the air while this is up to our right and not bring this up. Team USA, men's, women's, and sled hockey.
Not a big deal.
Trifecta. No big deal. USA Baseball, the starting lineup's being introduced right now. They showed up today wearing USA hockey jerseys.
Yeah, they did. Pretty cool.
Venezuela, you had quite the Cinderella run. They're not losing wearing USA hockey jerseys.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ronald.
Don't jinx them.
Why do you think I'm knocking on wood right now?
Okay.
The fact that there's a Cub on the roster, so there's always a concern when there's a Cub on any roster, but, you know. I
got Cubs fan in the family, so
well, that's
no comment.
I'm sorry for that. Sorry they weren't loved enough as a child.
Hey,
look at this!
Oh my God!
To wrap up the program,
thank you guys.
Green cupcakes.
That. Green cupcakes. You guys gotta help me eat these. Bye, buddy.
No, I know you can help you eat them.
Yeah, thanks.
Robin.
Green clouds on the bench.
They weren't already green. And Robin loves cookies.
He loves everything.
So much so that he's been purchased cookie merch.
You can have one.
You can have one.
You want one? Which one do you want? This one? Come here.
Oh, you broke it.
Imagine if I dropped them.
On live television.
On live.
Well, it's not really television, but
it's. You want one too? Can you have one? Parents, is it okay that they have one? Okay.
Mom's nodding. I think we're good.
Okay. You got it?
Mom's also wearing a Jake Ottinger jersey. I don't know if it's just because it's green or what. You're welcome.
Very welcome. Thank you.
He's got you on his shirt, too, by the way.
I know. You see that? It's Hussey and greener.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all 1 bites for Robin.
Yeah. He's got, yep. Okay. Before we get any further off track, former assistant coach and player guest, double duty, Greg Hussey. I'm Brett Wiseman. Yeehaw. We'll see you Friday night.